Sure, that's solid. I'll be happy with that.
Okay, we're here with Dale Wyatt of Reigate Priory FC, currently in the Southern Combination Football League, Step 6. Now we bought, start again, see? Now we brought Dale in because it links into this documentary. Reigate Priory last season were a Step 7 team, and therefore with the race to Step 6, we wanted to find out what it actually takes to become a Step 6 team. So, Dale, how are you, pal?
Good, thanks, mate. Good, how are you?
Yeah, really good, really good. Quickly tell us a bit about your club.
So, Reigate, it's one of the oldest clubs in the world, formed in 1870, part of the very first FA Cup in 1871. And yeah, been going since. So I joined in 2013, briefly left in 2014, 2015, and came back again a year later. But yeah, currently got, as of this season, we're now going to have 7 men's teams on a weekend, 6 on a Saturday, 1 on a Sunday, and a massive youth section as well, which is 50 plus teams, so catering for over 1,000 families across Reigate, Red Hill, that sort of area.
That's fantastic. Over 1,000 families catered for. That means you're a major part of this community. Still, what I want to know, we brought you in this documentary, okay? What changes did you make in the group, in the club, when gaining promotion from Step 7 to Step 6?
So to be honest, there wasn't too much that we had to change really. Obviously structurally, we'd already moved to Hawley, so we're already playing there in order to be able to gain promotion. So that was something that was quite tough for the club, to be fair. So we've been at our spiritual home since 1870. You've obviously got the additional costs in terms of the ground share and everything as well. So I think that's probably been the major change, is the costs and being able to account for obviously increased referees' fees, having 3 officials, that sort of thing. We've obviously had to have increased support from volunteers. I think we've been able to find volunteers in-house, which has been quite handy. A few people that have stepped up and been brilliant this year. Where we're obviously in a different league now to what the rest of the club are in, Mid-Sussex. Secretary sort of went, okay, it's a bit much for me to do 2 leagues, so we've had to, my assistant manager is also now first team secretary.
How do you cope with that?
Fine, to be fair, he's brilliant, he's really, really good.
Good.
I think this year's been quite smooth, to be fair, from that perspective. It's been pretty good. So yeah, he obviously does the AGM and everything like that. We've got the meeting this weekend, the end of season dinner, so that'll be good. That'll be interesting. First time being part of that. But in terms of the actual team itself, we didn't change too much, to be honest. We were quite confident that the group of lads that we had were capable of making a step up, something that occurred to us quite quickly, and especially as the season progressed as well, it was quite apparent that we went from a 26-game season to what ended up being 48 games this season. So yeah, we knew we had to bloat the squad a little bit, get a bit more depth. We're quite fortunate we're supported by a very strong reserve team as well. So there's a few of the lads that have stepped in and helped us from there as well from time to time. But yeah, that's one of the key changes, I suppose, is obviously, bloating that squad, and something that I've had to learn from as well.
Yeah, I can understand with the extra finances, the extra strain on the group as a whole, the more admin, the more volunteers you need. Yeah. What other challenges have you faced now, though? Because you've gone from Step 7, which is a more grassroots, friendly, intermediate type of football, to Step 6.
Yeah, I mean, I've already alluded to it. Obviously, cost is the biggest thing.
Are we talking a lot of cost?
It's significant. Like, it's per game. It's ridiculous how much more expensive it is. Not just the ground share. Hawley are great, by the way. They've been superb with us, and I think they're quite fair with their ground share costs. It's the increased referees' fees. It's even stuff like the hospitality. It's an extra 25, 30 quid that you've got to factor in per game, and we're not talking just 10 home games like we were used to before. We're talking sort of like 20, 25. And
did you have to supply referee linesmen back in those leagues as well?
Yeah, so again, we were quite fortunate that one of the old coaches / players sort of stepped up, and he's still part of our sort of wider coaching team, so to speak, at the moment, Gus. But he for 3 years across Mid-Sussex, Champ and Prem, he was our designated liner, and he's brilliant as well. He's great.
I love that. So, what do you reckon you would do differently next season, the incoming season, knowing that now you've been in Step 6 and, might I add, solidified your place comfortably in mid-table, which I know the resources you have, and that was a challenge in itself. What do you think you would have done differently next season?
Funny you say that. I recently had this conversation with my assistant manager, and his response was absolutely nothing. I was like, okay, interesting. He said, we came up, pretty much like botched our way up. Obviously, we finished third. We managed to get up, obviously playing at the back of Hawley because we're on the same postcode. No one else applied, so we're quite fortunate the fact we finished third with 2 points off of winning it. But on another season, if Ringmer's facilities had been in place earlier, that could have been very different. They obviously won the league and by sporting merit deserved to go up last season. So, you know, we went up, we went, right, it's a bit of a free hit. Like, obviously we don't want to go down. So see what we can do with it and enjoy it. So the pressure's been off this year, really. And I think a lot of the teams we played against have probably felt that. We've just played with a bit of freedom. We've not been one of those clubs at the top end that are expecting to go on to the playoffs and kick on from there. So we've been able to play with that freedom, which is nice. On a personal level, what I would do differently and what I've learned from where we've had to bloat that squad a little bit compared to normal.
Yeah.
Previous years, it's been quite easy to manage from a man management perspective. It's pretty much just managed itself, bar the minor sort of issues here and there. But with a larger squad and with more need for rotation and things like that, I've learned that I need to be more involved, more proactive. I think with the man management, more proactive with transparency, and also just getting to know some of the lads on a bit of a deeper, more personal level.
Okay.
So from my personal perspective, I'd do that differently. I'd like to be a bit more involved this season from that perspective. And I think bringing in potentially 1 or 2 new coaches in the pipeline, that might free me up a little bit more to do that.
Yeah, it might freshen things up as well, because it is tough when you're trying to wear a lot of hats, especially at a club that you've been so involved with. So, you mentioned Ringmer there. Now, if it's either Ringmer or Westfield that end up going up, what advice would you give to them? Because you're a season ahead of them.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to them?
It's obviously I know Tommy quite well and Harry over at Westfield.
Yeah, good guys.
Both of them are great, and they've done brilliantly to set themselves up. Both clubs done brilliantly to set themselves up to go up. I know Westfield have taken a fair bit of time. They've got significant backing from the community there.
Yeah,
being really, really strong. What I would say to them is really just sort of stick to your ethos, stick to your culture. That's the only thing that's really set us apart this season, I think. It'd be so easy to sort of fail from that perspective and go, oh, look at this person, they've got a shiny step 6, step 5 CV, yeah, let's get them in. So what I said to our lads recently at a trial game as well, when they've come down, is ultimately where you've been before really doesn't matter. When everyone steps on that pitch to go out to trial, it's a level playing field, whether you've been a step 5 or step 10. Like, ultimately, when you're on that pitch, I want to see character from you, I want to see what you're like in terms of leadership. Ability is obviously important, but for us, the most important thing and the thing that keeps people with us is that culture and the supportive sort of structure around it. Money can come into things, but that might also have its own issues where some clubs might think that you can talk to someone a certain way because you almost own them with the money. That again might be a bit of naivety from me, obviously having only been at it for a year, but we're quite happy with where we're at the moment, and we'll see what happens this year. It could be go on.
Well, I definitely think you've done a great job. I really, really do. You know I come up against you lot during the season, really hard to break down. Good team, want to work for each other. Look like they're carrying out your instructions that you're giving them as well. So I think you and the guys done a great job. You really have.
Thank you.
But I've got one more question.
Yeah.
You know what they say, don't you? Second season-itis.
Yeah.
Now, what happens to Reigate Priory as a step 6 club if they go down to a step 7 club?
I mean,
what changes?
Yeah, famous last words. I've no concern about that, if I'm honest.
Good.
I think we'll kick on this season. I think we're managing to keep hold of the majority of our lads. I think we've got some potentially very good players coming to join us as well. So I think we can kick on and go another level this season. There's obviously some very good teams that have left the division, with Forest Road, with Seaford going up as well. You've got Chessington potentially moving out. So there's some good teams that have left. The teams that are coming in, I think they're strong. I do think they're strong. I think it'll be a much more even division this season. I think Godalming will go on and do really well.
I agree. Definitely.
But otherwise, I think the relegation battle will be very interesting. I think the battle for top 6 will also be very interesting. My early tip is Arundel and government to continue the form from the back end of the season.
Yeah, good shout.
But I don't think you'll have the runaway leaders like you had season just gone.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there. Just a couple more things though. How do you find training that has changed from where you were a couple of years ago to the intensity it's got to be now? Because I was just with Ben Bacon. He does Your Peak Performance.
Yeah, I know Ben.
And he's obviously a Forest Road player that's just gone up. But his training sessions, he was drilling them.
Yeah, tough. Yeah.
How have you found the intensity stepping up?
Interestingly, so where we were playing once a week on Saturdays with Step 7, we had our skipper, Bish, was predominantly doing the coaching beforehand. He is, I mean, you've probably seen him, and anyone that's obviously seen him play, he's on it. He's strong in attack, he gets himself out of the pitch so much. He expects that level of intensity all the time. So where we were playing Saturdays only, he would make training really, really intense at Step 7.
Okay.
So we had that level of intensity already. This season, if anything, I actually think we might have taken the level of intensity down a notch.
Is that because you're playing more games?
Exactly that. Where we'd be playing on a Tuesday or whatnot, it's what you don't want to do is go Saturday, Tuesday, and then Thursday you're going with a mad intense session as well. And then because we can only train on a Thursday, we struggle to get facilities anywhere else. Naturally, the second day is the Saturday. That's the day you get DOMs. So yeah, we tend to actually try and balance that out a little bit. If we're not playing midweek, we might make it a bit more intense on a Thursday. If we are playing on a Tuesday night, then we might just make it a bit more tactical, might do set pieces, that sort of thing. A bit more stretching involved and things like that as well. So actually it's a learning curve for us this season has been trying to balance that level of intensity across the course of the season.
And one final thing, what would you change about this league if you had a magic wand?
Oh, good question. I think it's really well run actually.
I do. I think the SCFL has run really well.
A massive shout out. I think obviously we have a lot of conversation with Tim Dawes. I think he's been brilliant this season. Every time we've ever needed any support from him, I think communication's been top, and he's done whatever he can to try and help. So yeah, massive shout out to him. I think he's been great. What would I change about this division? There's really not much, I don't think, if I'm honest. Pass. I think obviously the only thing that we've sort of found a struggle this season has been the cost. Whether there's any more support perhaps in terms of sponsorship or...
Do you find it hard to get sponsorship, seeing as at the moment you're ground sharing?
Yeah. I mean, the other challenge that we have with that is, with our spiritual home at Park Lane in Reigate, we get the bar takings there. Obviously at Hawley we don't. And they, rightly so, they pay for the bar stuff.
Of course.
They take money beyond the bar. So yeah, it's obviously the revenue that we generate at Hawley, we're making a loss on a regular basis. So yeah, it's difficult to get, regardless wherever we are, to be honest, it's difficult.
But if you're making a loss, how can you keep it sustainable?
It's a good question. It is a good question. I mean, the way that we're making it sustainable at the moment is players will pay an upfront sort of £200 membership.
That's interesting. Now, I'd like the listeners to understand this, because what they might not understand is that a lot of teams in this league, so the SCFL Div 1, pay expenses or travel, maybe a win bonus, a goal bonus. I've heard rumours of stupid numbers. I've heard rumours of true numbers. But Reigate actually pay a membership fee, similar to what you would have if you were still in Step 7 or even below. Sunday morning, you pay for the right to play. Now, that has its advantages because you always got cash coming into the club. It has some disadvantages where maybe you can't attract the talents that could be needed because they want an extra tenner in their brown envelope, things like that, Have you come across that?
Not really, no. I mean, we might lose a player this pre-season for that reason. He's quite happy where he is, but we're in a cost of living crisis, right?
Yeah.
I've always said to my lads I would never begrudge anyone if they go because they're getting a significant increase, obviously in income.
But do you feel it gives a level playing field being able to, you're competing with teams, and I won't mention any of the teams on there. I do that enough on the podcast. There's teams that might pay £100 a player on a Saturday. They could be playing £100 a game. And whereas your lads are actually paying to play.
They pay to play if they don't get sponsorship. So we kind of put that emphasis on the lads themselves because we can't do everything. So if they can source their own sponsorship, then that will cover that for them. But I mean, last season I think we maybe had 5 lads that ended up paying because they couldn't source their own sponsorship. There are occasions where we do get someone that goes, we want to sponsor a player, in which case we tend to try and be fair about it, and we give them the opportunity to go, okay, well, who do you want to sponsor? This, that position, that position sort of thing. If not, then it's the lads that maybe need it more. Maybe you're in full-time education, that sort of thing. So we try and divvy it up that way. But you know, obviously it has its negatives, but it has its benefits as well. If you're paying to play for us at step 6, then you're doing it because you want to be here. There's something that you've seen.
Yeah.
That means this is the place to go and develop, and maybe I could think about a pay packet after that once I've showcased what I can do.
I totally agree. Well, that's it from me, Dale. Thank you ever so much for coming in.
As always, pleasure.
You've been fantastic supporter of the brand. You're building something proper here at Reigate. There is something happening here for a community, and everyone involved in the club seems to actually want to be a part of it. It's not, you don't get your journeyman coming through to play one season here. They seem to stay for a long time. So that goes to credit you, the committee, and your staff there. So we wish you the best for next season. We'll be definitely catching up.
Superb.
And going in from there. Dale Wyatt, Reigate Priory.
Cheers, mate.